Hello all you Black Ops loving cosmonauts, as always I am Cosmic, and today we're going to be previewing Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is the new third-person open-world shooter from Ubisoft and developed by Ubisoft Paris. Wildlands places you in the role of a leader of the Black Ops team sent into Bolivia to take down the Santa Blanca drug cartel after a DEA agent gets killed. The Santa Blanca organization controls every facet of Bolivian life and infiltrates its government, its security forces, and pretty much everywhere you can imagine. And so you and your team set out to take down the organization from the bottom up, helping the Bolivian resistance along the way. So finally the game is in closed beta, and I got my hands on the game, played several hours of it so I could really come up with a decent overview of what was there. And the footage that I'm showing you now is from basically pretty much the start of the game and the first couple of missions and the first couple of areas involved. Now the closed beta was restricted to one region of the open world that the game will give you. In total I think there's something like 27 regions. It is a massive open world. Even just looking from the map, it is absolutely huge. But first let's start with character creation, because character creation is something that I absolutely love and enjoy and take my time with, and character creation in Wildlands is absolutely fantastic. The amount of options and customization options that they give you for pretty much all of your character is really top notch. Now when it comes to faces, there are only set faces that you can choose from, but then you can customize them with different hairstyles, facial hair, and then where the big customization options come in play is things like tattoos, things like what equipment and gear you have on you. It's all aesthetical, of course, but there is a nice range of options available. So you can have, you know, a dead eye with a eye patch on looking like something from the DC universe, and it's all kinds of crazy things that you can do. And I really enjoyed the level of customization, which really helps considering that the game does support up to 4-player co-op, so it really does promote the idea that playing with other people is a lot of fun, and so it allows you to really create something that is going to look unique, as well as having customization options that you'll be able to unlock via playing the game itself. But enough about customization, let's get on to the gameplay itself. Now the game is a third-person shooter. The great thing about this, more so than probably The Division, even though I was one of the few people who really enjoyed The Division, is the fact that you can have it both ways. So while you are moving and you're not in combat, the game is entirely in third person. However, when it comes to combat, you can aim down your sights like a first-person shooter. You can switch that to have it over the shoulder like a third-person shooter, or you can mix and match between the two depending on what you want to do. And that was a really nice option, and I think that it really helped the overall feel of the gameplay, especially when it came to the combat. Having that option between, I can go into third person mode if I want to go into a building and clear out a building. It means that I don't have to have this clunky, janky camera over the shoulder in a tight enclosed space. I can just go down the sights and walk through the entire building in first person mode. And that was something that I found to be a very nice touch and a very smart game design choice. What I also like about the combat and the overall core gameplay is the fact that it is very tactical. It isn't just a case of running and gunning, although you can do that, but the best way to take down a compound of enemies, for example, is to first recon the area with things like drones that you can control, and then you can mark down various enemy locations. You can even call on your AI teammates to take, sniper shots and that kind of thing, or you can use your binoculars to mark out enemy targets. And then once you know the enemy locations, you can go stealth, or you can go guns a-blazing and go kill everything in sight. And one of the things that I like about that is the fact that the gameplay and the core design of the gameplay gives you choices. It gives you the choice of attaching silencers to your assault rifles and your sniper rifles and your handguns, and going in silent and just making your way through the combat, picking off things silently so no one gets the alarm raised. Or if you're feeling in the Commando Arnold Schwarzenegger style mode, you can go in guns a-blazing, reinforcements will come, you can take them down, you can blow up cars, and that gameplay mode is there for you, that option is there for you. And I like that it really doesn't force you down any particular one way of doing things. And there is times where you'll probably want to focus on stealth more than, say, running and gunning, because you have certain objectives to take, like, you know, maybe go and interrogate a leader, and if that leader is killed, you won't be able to do that. Or there'll be a situation where they are holding hostages, and if you go in noisy, then they're going to kill the hostages before you have time to rescue them, or risk the hostages getting killed in crossfire. And I have to say, I really like that about Ghost Recon Wildlands. I like the fact that it gives you options to how you choose you want to play the game. The combat itself and the gunplay are all very, very solid. It very much reminds me of things like The Division without the bullet sponge. You know, I can take down someone with a single shot to the head. Done. Game over. And I like that about it. It feels much more authentic, it feels much more realistic, and ultimately it gives you the sense of, you know, if I get shot too much, if I don't use the cover system in play, which is exactly the same as the Division's cover system almost, then it's going to be something that you're going to get killed very, very easily. On top of that, you also have character progression and item progression. So your character can progress, you can use skill points to put into various talent trees, which will do a multitude of different things. So one talent tree, putting skills into that will improve your gunplay, it will improve your aiming, it will improve your damage, it will improve various other aspects of the gunplay itself. And then you have other trees that focus on your AI teammates or the drones or things like item progression. So for example, you can use a skill point to unlock parachutes, which will then give you the option to parachute out of helicopters and planes and such. And then on top of that, you have item progression. So as you play the game, more and more items and attachments become available for your weapons. So you'll be able to switch out scopes, switch out magazines, and basically really modify all your favorite equipment to put it into a way that you enjoy playing with that specific gun. And all of this is fantastic. All of this is fun. I like the mechanics. They're executed well. However, and this is a giant however, the game has a ton of problems as it is currently. And I understand that this is closed beta, so things are subject to change. However, the game isn't that far off from release, and this makes me worry. So my first bugbear with the game is the driving. Considering you have a giant open world, the driving and the controls for driving and the response and the way the movement feels of the cars, the way turning feels, the way bikes feel, is not good whatsoever. It's clunky, it doesn't feel natural, it doesn't feel authentic, and overall the driving is not good at all, especially if you've been playing something like GTA 5 recently and then you come in and jump in a Jeep in this game. It does not feel good in the slightest. It feels sluggish, it feels uncontrollable. I mean, the amount of accidents that I had in this game just simply because the car didn't turn fast enough, even though I was pulling the thumbstick right to the side, or even on mouse and keyboard, it still does not feel good. The second thing is the fact that the game is chock full of bugs. There are bugs everywhere. You're talking within the first 20 minutes alone, I probably encountered maybe 3 or 4 bugs. And these can range from glitches, AI pathing issues with your AI squad, and they just go wherever the hell they want. I have no idea what they're doing. Then you have issues with enemies. So I was attacking a compound, and the entire enemy population just disappeared. Like in a flash, boom, gone. And that happens several times, by the way. They're just enemies randomly disappearing as soon as you engage them for some reason. And there was just a multitude of bugs and glitches in this game that did not instill me with hope about how good the final product would be. And I would say that it gives me that nervous feeling about that I got with the exact same with Assassin's Creed Unity, when people knew that there were certain bugs in the beta and they directly translated into the final game, and that final game was a buggy mess of a game. And this makes me very nervous nervous just in the fact of how many damn bugs are in this game. It is absolutely shocking and very worrying considering that the game is not far from release whatsoever. And I have to say that I really enjoyed the beta. I really enjoyed Wildlands. It's got some great ideas. It has this massive open world. For the most part, the game looks wonderful. I think the character models are a little bit funky sometimes, but for the most part, the entire thing is really nice looking. The visuals are nice, the sound is nice, the voice acting is nice, the story is interesting. You get to view documents as soon as you take on a new mission. You get a briefing which plays an entire CGI cutscene of, you know, the intel that is provided to you. And the whole thing is interesting and fun, and I like third-person shooters. That's, you know, one of the things that I really do enjoy. And I like open-world games, especially open-world games that have objectives, that have stories, that have side missions, things to do in the world, things to see in the world. And they've recreated Bolivia in a way that's really nice and will promise to have lots of different areas, and I think that's fantastic. However, the execution as it currently stands and the level of polish as it currently stands does not fill me with confidence in the slightest. And I have a feeling that a lot of the bugs that I have encountered in this beta will probably make it into the final game, going off the history of Ubisoft games that have this problem. And it's one of those things where that in itself is a major problem, because not only are these bugs noticeable, but they directly affect gameplay. They directly affect the player enjoyment. They directly affect engagement. I mean, you're talking about bugs that remove enemies. You're talking about bugs that remove objectives, and that is a game-breaking bug if there ever was one. That's not to say that Ghost Recon Wildlands doesn't have potential to be an amazing game upon launch, but I fear that between now and then there will not be enough time to really put the level of polish in that this game needs, because it is so massive, it is so big. How are you going to fix all those bugs within a month or so? I'm not sure that is even possible at this current stage. And so I am cautiously, I would say, optimistic about the final version of Wildlands. However, I am very still cautious nonetheless, because ultimately I have a feeling that when this game comes out, there is going to be a multitude of problems. Then there is a great core game underneath there, and there's great content underneath there. There's great gunplay. I absolutely love the idea of team tactical third-person shooting. I love the idea that you can jump in and out with your friends and do a wild variety of things in this open world. However, the execution does need to be nailed down, and currently it's not up to par. And so that is my preview of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let me know what your thoughts are on the video in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, and please share the video onto your social media. And as always, I will see you next time.